Now, so to talk about this particular topic, the psychology of productivity with Zoho Workplace, I'm pretty excited to actually talk about this topic because, apart from all the conventional topics we've done all this while, this particular topic is very special to me because while I was preparing for this, I learned a lot of things as to how the interfaces are built and how exactly our app is designed and why exactly they are designed a certain way. And I suppose this session will be really interesting to all of you as well. And if you have any suggestions or feedback or any questions, do drop them in the Q&A tab and we'll be more than happy to give you the clarifications. So as we discussed, the session is about the psychology of productivity with Zoho Workplace. And I am Priyanka. I will be the presenter for you in this session. If you have any doubts, you have a Q&A tab at the bottom. Use that to post your questions. Okay, now let's begin. Now, the question is, why do some tools feel intuitive while others frustrate you despite doing the same thing? Now, let's imagine you use a new app, okay, and it just clicks. It feels like it was practically made for you. And then you open another application, it's just too frustrating, a mess with a lot of confusing menus and buttons, and it's really difficult for you to even find the right button. But what's the actual major difference here is that uh, sometimes it feels the experience is too easy and others just feel like a total chore. Well, here's the secret. It's not an accident. It's actually psychology. And why is that? So, the best, most intuitive designs are not some magic. They are meticulously engineered to work with predictable patterns of the human brain. But to understand this, we have to visit few topics, okay, few concepts. From those concepts, we will understand how our brain responds to digital tools based on design, pattern, etc. And of course, I will enlighten all of us with how exactly Zoho Workplace aligns with these concepts to increase our productivity. Okay, now the first concept we're going to learn today is the brain overload. Okay, in today's world, I'm sure our attention is just constantly under attack. You've got notifications, emails, chats. It never stops. In order to claim your focus, we're going to go deep into the science of how our brain gets so much overwhelmed and more importantly explore the user manual for getting back into control. Let's get into it. Have you ever felt this where your brain has too many tabs opened, right? It's just a juggling of that particular email or a jumble of notifications you have to get to, or playing with some weird comment you saw in social media and you want to reply to that, and a dozen of other little digital distractions. It literally feels like your brain is operating system has way too many tabs open and it's about to crash. Now, that feeling isn't just in your head. It's a real thing. But what is going on here? Thing is, a lot of time the very digital tools that are supposed to help us are actually problem. When they are confusing or poorly designed, they don't just annoy us, they actively drain our mental resources. This leads to what we call the overloaded brain, and recognizing the symptoms is a huge step. Do any of these look familiar to you? I bet some of them hit pretty close to home. It's so easy to blame ourselves, like to think maybe I'm not organized enough, or maybe I should be more disciplined. But the research actually shows us that these are classic signs that digital systems are demanding way too much from our brain, leading to mistakes, frustration, and eventually burnout. This is actually caused by this force scientifically named as cognitive load. And it's really the hidden culprit. Now is when we're getting to the science part with the cognitive load. Now, what's a cognitive load? Here's the best way to picture it. Your brain is like a computer, okay, and it has a limited amount of working memory or RAM. Every little piece of information you have to process, every decision you make, every distraction you fight off, it all uses up a piece of that RAM. When a task demands more mental juice than you've got available, you will hit that cognitive load. Now, here's a crucial part. Um, all the cognitive load are bad? No. There are few good cognitive load as well. Like we have intrinsic, germane, extraneous. Intrinsic is let's say this is actually very straightforward. Intrinsic. Let's take rocket science. Okay, that itself is a very difficult topic. It's supposed to have complex ideas, complex concepts, and it is difficult to study that. So that's intrinsic, but it's a good kind of load. And then you have germane. Now, germane is, it is again, you can call a good kind of efforts again. This is a mental work you do when you're truly trying to understand something or connecting new ideas to what you already know. And you can also call this as, a period where real learning kicks in. Then you have extraneous load. Now, this is the actual villain of our story because this, why do we call this as a villain? Is that this is just a useless mental energy. This is a junk of mailbox in the mind where it's all the wasted efforts from dealing with a confusing website or a badly designed application. So our goal is to eliminate this extraneous junk. Uh, when we talk about extraneous junk, let's take example. Think about notifications. So when you deal with notifications, I'm sure if you're using multiple applications together, all the applications will act as though they are screaming for attention, isn't it? So that is also a kind of an extraneous load. And how exactly Zoho Workplace is tackling that? So if you see here, this is a unified notification. So in our application itself, when you open the bundle, when you click on the home button on the top left corner, you will find this unified notification under the notification column. So here you will be able to find notification of your mail, contact, no, sorry, mail, connect, and work drive all put together. Now, what's the major advantage is that, so if you're receiving a notification from different application, there is an opportunity for you to miss, there's an opportunity for you to overlap, there's an opportunity for you to confuse between these notifications. Whereas all of them are put together, these confusions are already out of the door. Also, when you read these notifications, you get to prioritize better. You get to see which notification requires your attention the better, and you can plan accordingly. And that's the advantage of using this unified notification. And we also have unified dashboard. Likewise, if you're using a unified dashboard, you don't have to go into the applications one by one at all. We understand we're giving you a bundle, it has multiple applications, but we don't want you to switch between these applications. Rather, let's say you're opening your laptop and you want to start your day fresh. You don't have to go into each of the applications to find what's the latest update, but rather, here you have unified dashboard. This lets you to see the latest updates of all the applications together. Let's say you received a mail, you've received a chat, somebody has mentioned you in a chat, a meeting has been scheduled for you, there is an event that's going to happen today, and that is also scheduled in your calendar. And there were few files that were added to your work drive. So these are all the latest updates. Would you be able to see them all together? Yes. In this dashboard, you'd be able to see all of them together. And from there, you can see, okay, there is a meeting that's going to immediately start. That's my priority. And you can also see somebody has mentioned you in a click chat. So you can see if you want to immediately attend to that or that can be postponed for later. So if you feel you have to delve into an application, from the dashboard itself, you can click and you can get into the application as well. Now, that's the unified dashboard. One place, less switching and less mental strain. The next example is about Zia search. This is particularly useful for me because I always have this scenario when I'm searching for a file, for example. Uh, I would remember the file name or I might remember something inside the file, the content of the file, okay, but I would definitely not remember if I saw it in a mail or if I saw it as an attachment or if I saw it as a chat attachment or if I saw it in a work drive. So to search for this file, I would use Zia search. Now, Zia search is very useful in this case. When you search a particular phrase or a word or a name of a file, immediately it will fetch it across applications. It doesn't just search in a particular application, it will search it across application and the results will be shown to you together. So from there, you will have an idea where exactly it is found and you would be able to easily track it down. And don't worry, even if you're searching for an image, and the image was just saved as image.png or something like that. So you would remember what the image contained or the content of the image, something like that, right? This also has optical character recognition. So by typing out the particular content of the image as well, you can pull it out easily. Now that is your search for you. So as you can see here, how complex things are just made very simple. That's where the cognitive load is being eliminated. Templates, I suppose we know this is a classic example by itself because without templates, we have to start everything from scratch. It's a lot of manual work, but templates cuts them all short. It gives you the template, it gives you where you have to start, right? So all the scratch work is done by the template, and you just have to go with the flow and actually incorporate the subject you're trying to achieve to give the audience. A mail template is also available. You can create as many templates as you want and you can incorporate them when you compose a mail. Mail assistant. I suppose many of us wouldn't have used this mail assistant. Uh, where is this mail assistant actually found? In your mail UI, on the right pane bottom, you will have a thunder icon, a lightning kind of icon. That's your mail assistant. Even now, you can see where it is found, so you know where it is available, so you can later on use it as well. So this particular icon, this particular feature is very useful. When you use the particular feature, let's say there are times, definitely there are times, we would be very much concentrated on attending to these emails, and sometimes we will want to find where did I save that particular tag, and where is this particular option. So to navigate between the interface, as long as we are extremely aware where the options are available, we would know. If not, we may stumble a little bit that where this particular option is found or where that particular option is found. In that case, you can use the mail assistant. This option will fetch, it's almost like a quick access. Whichever option you want to go to, you just have to type it out, take you there. Not just within the mail platform, even if you want to start a click chat with your colleague. Just click on the add mention, select the person, and then say click chat. When you do that, immediately a chat opens up for you with that particular, that particular colleague's chat opens up for you to start chatting with them. And you also have meeting, and you also have different options within the mail UI also available for you to navigate between. That's your mail assistant. So you don't even have to spend time to find the options. Even that can be fetched with this particular feature. Now, we've seen a lot of examples, right? There is one more example that I would like all of you to see, which is review. We don't really give enough recognition for this particular feature, but let me say if this is not available, what we would do. We would have to download the particular attachment or file, and it has to get saved in our local system. And then once it gets saved, we have to go find out where it is actually found. And then we have to open it and then view it. And then if you want it, you will keep it. If you don't want it, you have to delete it. If you don't delete it, it again consumes your space. A lot of things are involved. But when you have preview, you don't have to worry about that at all. If you just want to have a glance about it and see if everything's all right and it's just you have to say a good to go, preview is your go-to. So when you click the preview, if you just want to say a few suggestions on that, you can go ahead and do that and you can send it across. Now, no context switching, less cognitive friction is uh, achieved with this preview feature as well. So now we've seen a lot of example which is relevant to this cognitive load and how exactly Zoho Workplace handles that. Let's see the next concept. The next concept is about the habit loop. Now, it's time that we get into this fun part of the fix because we've been talking about the problem all this time. Brain overload, cognitive load, all of those were problems. Now it's about the solution, the habit loop. Now, here it turns out that every single one of our habits, let it be good habits, bad habits, they have a three-step pattern, and that's what we call it as habit loop. Now, the three-step pattern is this. So there's a cue. The cue is the trigger, and then you have a routine, which is the action you take or the habit itself, and then finally the reward, which tells your brain that, hey, that was good. Let's do it again. So think about your phone. Your phone buzzes, you get a social media text, and then you reply to the text as a routine, and you get a tick icon or you get a reply. That's a reward. So when that particular routine or your habit is acknowledged, that is a reward. And do you have an idea of why that reward even exists? Even I did not. But seems like when you have such acknowledgement, your brain has a bit of a dopamine hit, a positive energy that, okay, this task is done. And immediately it gets energized to do the next task. Interesting, isn't it? And to continue with this, these are the cues that Zoho Workplace gives you. So here you have mentions, reminders, notifications. This is exactly, that you have a task, you have a message, you've been tagged, somewhere something is needed from you. So these are the cues in Zoho Workplace. And here is your reward. Many applications do not have options or interface language that gives you this particular reward because they think, okay, once a task is done, after the routine is done, they just move to the next. But the interface has to have some option which actually makes you feel that you've done the task. And here it is, such as closing a thread. If you've been handling a query, you've been answering a lot of questions, you can close the thread once it is done. So when you do that, you get a dopamine hit. And you also have finalizing a document. I'm sure when we work on document, it goes on for days, even months sometimes, depending on the complexity of the document. Once you are done, you can choose mark as final. Sure, uh, many of us may not do this, and please take this session as a cue to start doing these things where you mark a particular document. Once you are done with that, mark it as final, and work with threads where you mark them as closed. And when you do these things, it actually seems like you get a positive energy, you get a happiness from that, and then you are more energized to, move forward and do the next thing. So make sure you practice this habit loop as well with the interface language that is provided for you and start doing this as well. Closing a task. I'm sure you would have used task within the mail portal. If you are not aware of this platform at all, let me tell you. Our mail platform comes with a suite of application of its own, apart from the workplace bundle. Okay, it has notes, tasks, bookmarks, resource booking, etc., contacts, etc. Now there you have, right? So using the to do, you get to create task. All right. So you can create a personal task for yourself and a group task. And when you create a task itself, you have options to create subtask and all. Okay. So here, as you can see on the screen, there is a webinar. That is the task. And for the webinar, they're going to do promotions. They have to create a deck. They have to coordinate for banners. So all of that can be created as a subtask. Okay. So once the subtask is created, once the task is finished, once a particular subtask is finished, it can be marked as closed. It can be marked as otherwise as well. You can add as many statuses as you want, not just open, close. You can add in progress, in design, in review, etc. All of that can also be added depending on your preference, and you can mark them. So why exactly should I do that? I know it. Look, when you actually mark such things on an interface, it's like as though your brain is having a checklist of its own and it is getting ticked, and somewhere it is getting recorded as well. That's what makes it feel happy. And also, the entirety of the task can also be closed as well. So make sure, even if you are handling 10 tasks on a day and it is very productive for you, do try out in a particular task portal and see how your mindset is changing and see how you're feeling about completing a task. Because in the urge of finishing a lot of tasks, I think we're not giving our brain the satisfaction of finishing the small things, right? So let's give that the particular feeling and also let it be happy so you're always in joyful mood. And here, this is actually a tip, okay? The check-in and status update. Why exactly would I want you to take this as a tip is that sometimes we don't, concentrate much on the statuses. Just a moment. Concentrate much on the statuses because we think, uh, you know, okay, I'm busy. Let me not, mind about the status as well. But trust me, these status are also very important because if you were working on a very important task and then somebody just calls you saying that I have a quick doubt, can I just clarify this with you? They may not know that you are actually, doing something very important. But that particular disturbance can really disrupt your flow. You would have had something going on in your mind, and with that flow, you would have been, very much concentratingly working on the particular task. And the call disrupts it all. To not let that happen, let people know your availability. With this status, you can say, I am busy, I don't want anybody to disturb me with the do not disturb option. You can also say, now I'm available, I'm just doing a leisure job right now, so I'm going to be available for you. So when you do these statuses, people exactly know if they can right away contact you, right away call you, or a text would be enough. Okay. So do have a practice, please practice this status updation, so that you yourself are also safe from all the unnecessary disturbances, and everybody else also knows about your availability status. Okay, so this is a cue that I wanted to give you. Now moving on to the next concept, the flow state. Now, when we talk about flow state and when we talk about these problems, it's all about regaining control of our own actions, of our own routine. But what if we can go beyond that? To achieve a real peak performance, what is actually necessary? It should be almost like a state of uh, emergent, like the time just flies away. You just feel whatever you're doing is just too effortless. Okay, that's what we're trying to say as a flow state. Now, when we design an interface for to achieve this flow state, what we say is that this is almost like a fundamental principle, okay, where the heavy work is hidden behind and only the result is let to shine. Or we can literally architect our environment, our softwares we daily use to cut out all the extra noises, extra mental noises, and make it easier to get into that state of flow. Now that's flow state. And here, as a classic example in Zoho Workplace, we have single sign. Imagine if this is not available. I'm sure we would have been disturbed, or we would have been cut short of this flow state a lot of times. Because I have a mail. Immediately I have to go to a meeting. I have to again authenticate and get to the meeting platform. And I have a chat application I want to or share a presentation with them from WorkDrive. I have to again authenticate in WorkDrive. This authentication itself will let me lose the context of what I'm trying to achieve for the day or the task, right? But single sign-on lets you just seamlessly do this, where it lets you to operate inside an ecosystem. It gives you access inside the ecosystem for the same account for all the applications. That's that's I would say this is a prime factor that lets you to experience the flow state and also enhance your productivity. And here it also has endless flexibility as well, not just to enter into the application, but also to just transition between these applications like a breeze as well. It lets you to do that, like this. You have an example on the screen shown to you. From your mail, you can jump to your Click application. You can talk about your mail from there. If you feel you want to preview a presentation, you can do that. And if you want to take a call, you can also do that. And you can conduct meetings right from there. So if you see here, we started from mail and we just navigated to two, three applications and we ended up in meeting. But we actually did not feel that you're entering into an application, exiting an application. You shouldn't actually feel that, because as and when your mind is navigating through a process, it needs to flow, it needs to let flow, right? But when applications don't really support that, we are fighting with the application first instead of we having to handle the particular task. So this seamless experience is brought to you with Zoho Workplace, so your productivity reaches the peak. And you also have workflows available. I'm sure that most of us may be aware of this, but may not have used this as of now. So just to give you a clarification of how workflow works. So workflow is available in Zoho Sheet and Zoho Writer. Okay. Now, let's say I'm working on a document. Maybe I've written a blog. Okay. And I feel my manager has to approve that. She has to give me a few suggestions if there are any, and I have to take it back. Or if it actually gets approved, it has to go to the next person, the editorial person who checks for all the content, and then it has to be distributed. Now, this is the flow of the document. Okay. But let's say I have forgotten that I even finished the document. Once I marked it as complete, I was very happy about it. I moved to the next task. Now, this is a manual work, right? And then I share it with her when I remember. Again, she takes a look at it, and then she takes some time, the manual work of sharing it to the next person, or giving it back to me, or informing me. So this manual work in between can be totally erased with this workflow, where you can directly fix it saying, this is the workflow. If it doesn't get approved, it has to come back to me. If it is getting approved, it has to go to the next person. So once you fix this, the tool will take care of it for you. Okay, once you mark it as complete, it goes to the next person. So this workflow can be set using Zoho Writer and Zoho Sheet. Okay, do give it a try. I'm sure you would love it. And this lets you to also attain that flow state where the tool is doing all of the job for you, that is transferring the access to different person instead of you having to do that manually. All right, I think we've seen enough examples with flow states. Let's go to the next topic. So just with this picture, try to see what exactly it's going to be. First, we have few options, and then we have more options, and then we have even more options. And this is what we call as the progressive disclosure. Now, a really good design doesn't just save time, it protects our attention. But how do we actually design for this? Is this answer. Okay, whatever I told you with the description of the picture, that's the answer. It's about respecting our brain's limits. Okay, it means creating things that are intuitive. That usually is called the progressive disclosure, which is really just a fancy way of saying, hey, don't show me everything out once. Just give me what I need right when I need it. See, this low load interface, for example, yeah, if you can see this low load interface, uh, this interface exactly tells you what are all important. Okay, so I have to set a feedback. Okay, the recipient field where I have to type the feedback, the send button. That's all is needed. Okay, the formatting option, adding pictures, all of that can be kept aside. If I want, I will use those options. If not, they're not very important for me to see on a very big screen or on a very big kind of a UI. Okay. Instead, it can be set aside. Okay. I just want to see what's most important for me first, and especially the send icon, right? So these are all the obvious options I want. So this is how you limit as to what is required for the particular purpose. And you also have a progressive disclosure as a flow. That is, in step one, it says, show only the essential information first. Okay, first, just the basics. And then once you get a hang of it, it gently reveals or lets you to reveal more advanced features. And then it keeps everything clean and stops you from feeling totally overwhelmed. Okay, so this is exactly what is the progressive disclosure. And there is actually a stark difference between a high load and a low load design. So if you see a high load design, they first will not have a very clean, very or neat UI at all. Okay, they will have all the options throughout the UI. You'll be like, okay, I have all these options, but when you want to find what's most important, you would be searching for it. But in a low load design, everything is pretty clean. What's most obviously used, what's most frequently used will be found first. Okay. And it will be very big for you to find as well. And here in high load, the patterns will be different. Let's say if it is an ecosystem of apps, one app will be in a unique way, another app will be in a very unique way, and then both will be in a very different kind of manner. It's pretty, difficult for you to even understand, are they even from the same ecosystem? Now that's a high load design. Whereas the low load design, we will make sure that all the apps are consistent. Okay. When the users are using one particular application, when they use another application, they should feel familiar. They should feel comfortable using their application, thinking, yeah, this is an application. This is one of the application from the ecosystem that I already use. So they should feel that. So that is a low load design. Okay. And here we the Hicks law also aligns very well with this. So Hicks law is nothing but telling that if you have too many options, it's too confusing. Less options, yes, you can take a decision immediately. Okay. This also kind of aligns with this principle of progressive disclosure. And now some of the examples that I want to show you is hide and collapse. Okay. If you see in your mail UI, right, you'd be able to collapse these headings on the left pane, okay, just to see the headings. And you'll also be able to hide the left pane, left application, the folder pane, etc. Right? So this can be achieved using the mail UI. Now, this is just one example. You'd be able to push it aside. And you also have focus typing in Zoho Writer. So yeah, I'm sure many writers are available in the session itself. So when you're writing a blog or an article or whatever that's important to you that you are writing, when you are writing, suddenly your eyes just land on some random line, and then you think, okay, this should be improvised, or should the flow be changed. You would have had a flow, you would have had an idea of going with, this particular flow itself, but suddenly somewhere a disruption happens because the focus was not that much given by the UI. Now here in focus typing, when you enable that, as and when your mind is flowing with the idea, you start typing out on that. And the particular para you are typing, only that will be highlighted for you. And the previous para, the previous content will be masked. Okay. Masked as in not entirely masked, obviously, but it will be masked to a level that you don't shift your attention to the previous paras. Okay. That's focus typing. And you also have nested controls. In addition to all of these hide, collapse, focus typing, you also have nested controls. Now, I'm sure you would have seen this in different UIs as well, different applications as well. And why exactly do we have these nested controls is your brain loves pattern. Okay. It loves I would rather say an organization. It wants everything to be organized so it can understand it. If it is not organized, it keeps trying to understand it, and it gets exhausted because of that. Okay. And here, when you have so many files, so many folders created, you can easily track them. You can easily navigate through them using this tree structure that you can find here. Okay. Using this tree structure, okay, you'd be able to navigate between the folders in that particular tab itself. Okay. And you can choose the file or choose the folder where you want to switch to. Instead of you having to, literally travel through all the folders one by one, here with just the tree view, you'd be able to navigate it. And as you can see the drop downs, right? From there, you can choose and you can get to the folder wherever you want to go. All right, that's your tree view. So you don't switch the context. You don't really get distracted between this navigation of folders. And you also have step-by-step layered interface. So inside your mail application settings, if you see, you will have the major options given to you on the left pane. And when you select that, all the detailed options, or even more um, minute options will be given inside those options, right? So whatever is required is given on the left pane. And if you want more, you can choose and you can get into the option and you can navigate through. That is step-by-step layered interface, where it is organized, where it is structured in a way that your brain can navigate through it without any chaos, without any ambiguity. All right. And if we're going to talk about features, I especially wanted to bring this particular feature to light, because filters are definitely underestimated, I would say, but filters are a magical feature. This can be used to organize your emails, to structure the way your email environment works itself. Using filters, you can achieve a lot of things. For example, if you feel I receive a lot of unwanted emails, use the email ID, put it into a filter, say automatically delete. Every time they come in, they will be automatically deleted. Obviously, you do have spam, you do have where you can push it to spam folders, block them and all. But if you want to immediately delete it, that's what your requirement is. Use filters and do that. Or if you want a set of emails to land into a folder automatically, that can be achieved using filters. So instead of you having to manually analyze and moving them into a folder, categorize them, and then use filters to put them into a folder. And in addition to that, the automation of not just this, it also let you to automate flagging, tagging, automatically forwarding, automatically archiving emails, snoozing them, setting reminders, and also to move to different cloud services, cloud storage platforms such as OneDrive, Dropbox, Zoho Workdrive, etc. You can move them to different cloud storage platform as well. So make sure you give it a try for the filters. I'm sure many of us are already using filters, but not to the extent of how much it can be used. Because manual work in mail can be tremendously cut short using this filters option. Do give it a try. See whatever categorizations are available, see whatever automations are available, and how much it can really come handy for you. Okay. Let's just be aware of how much we can utilize the application. Okay. And if it fits our needs, better. If it doesn't, yeah, we understand. The Zygarnik effect. This concept tells us that our brain actually does not like a particular task being unfinished. Lead even softwares. Anywhere you do a task, if it is a little bit unfinished as well, your brain will hold that. Okay, it will hold a bit of a mental tension that it keeps nagging you. You didn't finish that. You didn't finish that, and it will ask you to finish it. So this particular effect is called the Zygarnik effect. Okay, and it actually very well works with you even when you're working in digital tools. So digital tools are built in a way that it shows you a progress, that it shows you the step-by-step procedure, so you follow through that. So you don't have any ambiguity, you don't have any doubts in finishing that. So if you see this example, we will understand it even better. So here, as you can see, I'm sure you would have seen this onboarding steps, right? So here you will have a progress bar, you will have a setup checklist, just like this one, showing you what's done and what's still left to do. So this app is actually tapping right into that natural desire to complete the list. It's an incredibly powerful way to keep you engaged and motivated to finish a process. And in addition to onboarding, we also have another example, which is migration. So I'm sure most of us wouldn't have maybe performed this migration, but if you are, if you want to bring your migration, I mean, your mails from a different platform, from a different provider to Zoho Mail, you have to perform this process called migration to bring your mails here. Okay. Now, this migration is where, again, we will show you this checklist, okay, saying this is how you'd be able to configure for your migration. This is how you'd be able to add your users. And even after you add your users, we will show you the status of the migration, saying how much it has been completed, the volume of emails, the volume of users that have been migrated. So you'd be able to see the stats entirely clearly. So everything, the step-by-step procedure, how much is completed, how much is yet to be completed, everything will be shown to you. So you have a definite clarity as to what needs to be done and how much it has been done. Okay. Now that is migration and onboarding I wanted to show you. And this is the Zygarnik effect. And this is exactly how Zoho Workplace aligns with this effect as well. The next effect is consistency and pattern recognition. This is a very quite familiar topic for all of you as well, right? So any app we use, we will want some pattern, we will want some consistency, right? Only then we'll be able to understand this. We ourselves would suggest saying this is how it has to be in an application, right? Because we've known how the algorithm, how the UI has been designed all this while in different applications and how it actually works for us. We ourselves have an idea, right? So here as well, as you can see, our brain loves pattern, and when something looks familiar, we don't want to waste energy figuring it out, right? So this is exactly what consistency and pattern recognition is. And some of the classic examples of Zoho Workplace is unified UI language. So here I've just pasted three apps, okay, given the space in the slide, okay, but across application, this being followed. Now, on the left pane, you will have the folders or the files or even chats. Okay, all of that is kept on the left pane for you to see. On the top, you will have the apps where you can navigate in between. Okay, so this is exactly how your apps are being built in a consistent pattern. So you don't have any doubts as to where you have to navigate to find the options. Then we have action icons. Okay, action icon as in the consistency is maintained in the language. Okay, let it be share or view or comment and organize. So all of this is maintained across application. We don't want it to. We didn't want to use any fancy words in different applications, so it looks a lot cool. No, it's not cool because the customers or users will be very much confused that okay, all of this is named in a different way. I really don't know what is going to be named in this application that I use. Never feel that. So Zoho Workplace is designed in a way that the consistency is maintained across application. Though different teams work, we made sure this consistency is achieved across applications. So you'll be able to see that all these action icons will have the same name and same meaning. Keyboard shortcuts. If you fancy using keyboard shortcuts, it's very predictable across the applications in productivity tools, especially Writer, Sheet, and Show. If you're using them, you'll be able to predict the shortcuts as well. And this is exactly what pattern recognition and consistency, and this is how we have handled it in Zoho Workplace. And the next topic is about buttons. And this particular topic or this principle was spoken by Fitz, and it's called the Fitz Law. Okay. Here, he says that in addition to predictability, the accessibility, the quite obvious should be accessible very easily too. Okay. According to this law, the closer and bigger a button is, the easier it is to hit. In a world full of mobile taps and rushed clicks, those extra microseconds matter. Every bit of friction adds up. So, Zoho Workplace aligns with high frequency actions, right where the thumb or cursor naturally lands. So, this is how we have designed it itself. And here, if you see some examples, you have large tap zones. Okay. So on the left pane, you will find the creation buttons given to you in bold color, and it will also be available to you as big buttons. So you don't have to find these obvious options, because when you are going to a presentation application, writer application, or spreadsheet application, initially you will create, right, which you will handle later. So for you to create, these create options will be found there where you'll be able to easily identify them. That large tap zones is what we refer to them as. And you also have efficient interaction zones. So even in your mobile application, if you want to compose, wherever your thumb will reach, the most nearest part, there you will see the compose icon. And you also have swipe gestures available. Instead of you having to go to the settings on the top and then find where you have to find these options, instead of doing those things, just with a swipe, you'll be able to achieve these things, to delete, to move it to a folder, or to mark them as unread. So these options can be achieved using this swipe gestures itself. So Fitz Law also aligns with Zoho Workplace. I'm really happy to say that, because we've made sure that it is all the necessary or the obvious options are in specific regions where your mouse would easily land, and also where your thumbs will easily reach. And the next law or the next principle we'll be learning is cognitive offloading. Okay. Now, when we use cognitive offloading, I would rather say the examples that we've been discussing here would be a tip for you in addition to a learning. Okay. Now, here, we are easily able to predict, we are easily able to access, but should we waste energy remembering things? No. Your brain shouldn't be a storage drive. Great productivity systems, let's take any example for great productivity systems, they should be the ones to store, organize, and retrieve information for you. So your brain can focus on thinking and not remembering. When tools help you offload memory, your mental clarity skyrockets. And here are some classic examples again. So here you have tags and flags and labels available. So if you feel this is an important file, this is an important mail, you can mark them as important, give them a flag, give them a tag. So later, if you want to retrieve them, easily you can go and retrieve them. You don't have to go to the search, try to remember what did I read in the email, or who sent it to me. Don't worry about it at all. You can easily retrieve it once you give tags and flags. And these are again tips for all of you. If you haven't been using them, try to use them extensively as possible, because it's quite easy for you, quite handy for you. Okay, so use these flags. Flags are default option. I mean, it has a few number of options such as information, important, and follow up. Okay, apart from that, you also have tags. You can have as many tags as you want, and you can use these tags to categorize your mails. Also, if you want the particular tag color to be applied for the entire mail as well, you can also do that. So with the difference in the color segregation as well, you'll be able to easily identify. Okay. And then we have pinning chats and messages. I think most of us would be familiar with this, but I'm not sure how extensively we are using this, right? So if I have a manager, okay, and I feel I cannot miss her chat, I always want her chat to be accessible, and I will ping her chat. Okay. So no matter how many conversations, how many chats I have, uh, her particular chat will always reside on the top of my chat section. And I also have pinning messages. So I'm sure this is a very important feature, because uh, we wouldn't know, but many important or very essential text messages would be found within these chats. Now, when you have such chats, you should at least pin it so you can later go and refer to them, right? So instead of having to go inside the chat and go on scrolling or using the search icon, you can pin it. So when you do that, you can easily retrieve them. And you also have Smart Create menu. This again, some of you may not be aware of this. Smart Create menu is this actually bypasses a lot of things. It doesn't let you to go inside applications and work with them. Rather, it brings all the application within a particular pop-up itself. Um, okay, to explain this, Let's say I received a mail from my manager, okay, and she sent me some task to complete, okay. In that case, instead of me having to navigate to the to-do list and then remember what task she gave me and then typing out the details of the task, I can simply select the email content, okay, whatever was necessary. I can select it and I can immediately turn it into a task. So can you see here the pop-up? This is exactly how the pop-up will appear if you enable this option. And when you select a part of the mail, immediately this pop-up will appear for you. Okay, where you can mark it as mark the entire content as a task, or you can make it as an event, or you can make it as a note. And you can also search, let's say there's a word that you would like to search across application. You can also search that word across application, and you can also create a streams post as well. All of this can be achieved using this particular Smart Create menu. This is available. Why exactly is that? Again, since we saw all of these topics together, I'm sure we have an idea now why this exists. To reduce the cognitive load, to reduce the context switching, right? So when you switch between the application itself, already you are getting into a mess. Already you are going into a swirl, right? So instead of you doing that, you want to make this a task, make this a task immediately, move to the next task. That's all we want you to do. And that's available using Smart Create menu. Now we're going to see a last and final topic for today, which is emotional design. Now, this is when we go beyond usability and influence and we move into a world of emotion. So, the absolute best product, okay, don't just work well, they actually make us feel good. And it's just a whole goal of emotional design to create interactions that feel human and purely, they want to connect with us. It's what that separates the functional cold tools from an experience that feels genuinely fun and supportive. I'm sure you would have seen some examples, such as the celebrity animation when you clear an inbox or finish a task, or even the friendly human touch that comes in an application. And instead of a robotic jargon, UI text, it's more connecting, right? So that little detail, a playful micro interaction, they add up to create a real positive emotional connection for all of us. And here I would like to show you some examples of Zoho Workplace. So here, as you can see, in your mobile application, in your UI, everywhere it is found. So in your mobile application, in your writer, when you open and it's your first document that you're going to create, we would say start writing, no matter what. Whatever that is stopping you, let it not stop you. Start writing. So we would want you to, be encouraged. We would want you to have the energy to start writing and do this productive work. And here in your Click application, let's say it's loading, it doesn't have a very good internet connection. We would want you to calm down at that point. Take some deep breath till the internet connects. And we will also give you quotes so to, positively start your day. So all of this actually adds up and it actually is a human language of connecting with you. Instead of just acting as a tool, you know, um, or back end working for, for the subscription that you paid for. No, it's not that. We are your partners. We are, as a tool, we are trying to reach out to you, hold hands with you, and actually help you reach that productivity you're trying to reach. Now, that is emotional design. And here, we've seen a lot of examples. I'm sure we have a very good idea as to how Zoho Workplace team has done how much work into this particular solution. And how much they have achieved as well. So when we look at all of these principles, we might think they're just tricks. They're just, a way of manipulating people. But in reality, best designers don't really see it that way. They see these tools for empathy, a way to understand the user's mind and create experiences that are respectful, helpful, and just genuinely better. And that's really what that actually boils down to. So it's about building things that aren't just powerful and functional, but are also deeply that aligns with how we think, how we feel, how we behave. So this is what Zoho Workplace team has worked on to connect with its audience and give the best experience for its customers. With that, we've come to an end of the session now. We have happily landed at the thank you slide. Okay, I'm sure you may have some doubts, maybe with the topics we've discussed, or genuinely with the product or its features or its capabilities. You can post them in the Q&A tab that you can find at the bottom, and we'll be more than happy to give you all the answers. And apart from that, after this session it's as well, if you would like to connect with us, please do. You have the email ID over here, support at zohoworkplace.com. Use that email ID. You'll be able to connect with us. And if you would like to get a full walkthrough of the app, that is the bundle as Zoho Workplace, you have the training mail ID as well, which is mailtraining at zohocorp.com. You can also use that and you can connect with us. Okay. Make a note of these email IDs. Okay. And I really, really hope that all of you found this session to be fruitful. And I hope you all to join in the next session as well. Thank you so much.